Overboss is a 1 to 5 player game for ages 8 and up with an average gameplay length of 20 to 30 minutes, published by Brotherwise Games. The basic overview of Overboss has each player taking turns drafting terrain and monster tiles to fill in your player board. Once all boards are complete, score accordingly to each tile type, and the player with the greatest power wins. To set up the game, each player should collect a board and decide if they want to play on the classic 3x4 side or, for a longer game, the 4x4 side. Next, shuffle the terrain cards and draw 5 cards. These will be the terrains used on this playthrough. Collect all terrain tiles for each type of the terrain drawn. You will also want to collect the matching monster tokens and crystals for each terrain, along with the dungeon tiles that will be used in every playthrough. Be sure and also include the 8 mini-bosses and 7 portal tokens, which will be used in every playthrough. Put all tokens in the token bag and mix it around to get it nice and shuffled. Flip all tiles face down and then shuffle them. Once shuffled, stack them into a pile or two near the play area. Now draw 4 terrain tiles and place them face up in the middle of all players. And draw 4 tokens from the bag, placing 1 under each terrain tile. And with that done, the setup is complete and you are ready to begin the game. Choose a first player at random. And, going clockwise, each player on their turn will draft a single terrain tile with paired token. Next, place it on your player board. It can be placed anywhere, but be aware, depending upon the terrain, it will score in different ways. For example, caves are worth 1 point, but if they border a mountain, they receive an additional 2 points. Once placed, put the monster token on top of the tile you just placed. The only time you will not do this is if you are placing a dungeon tile, or if the token collected is a crystal or portal token. In these cases, the tokens will be placed in your layer here on the 3x4 side of the board, and just next to the board on the 4x4 side. If you have any empty terrain tiles, you must place any monster tokens in your layer on top of that tile. But when collecting a new terrain tile, you can use either the monster token collected or the one in your layer. If you ever wish to swap 2 monster tokens, you must use the portals in your layer. They can only be used once per game to swap 2 monster token locations. Once the player has finished drafting and placing their terrain tile, they will replace the empty spot with a new terrain tile and token from the bag and pass to the left. Continue like this until every tile spot on your player board is occupied by a terrain tile, and then move on to scoring. To start the terrain tile, score in different ways. Dungeons score 1 point for the tile, and 1 additional point for each different type of terrain tile that borders it, for a maximum of 5 points. The forest tiles score based on total number of forest tiles on your player board. 1 tile is 1 point, 2 tiles is 3 points, 3 tiles is 6 points, 4 tiles is 10 points, and 5 or more tiles is worth 15 points. Caves, as we said earlier, are worth 1 point, and if the tile borders a mountain on your player board, they will be worth an additional 2 points for a maximum of 3 total points. Graveyards have a base value of 1 to 3 points. In addition, the player with the most graveyard tiles will score an additional 5 points, and the player with the second most will score 2 additional points. Next, we have the camps. Camps are scored based on total unique flags a player has. 1 flag will score you 1 point, 2 different flags will score you 4 points, 3 flags will score you 9 points, and 4 more different flags will score you 16 points. Swamps have a base value of 1 point, and gain an additional point if they border water, and another additional point if they border another swamp tile, for a maximum of 3 points. Desert tiles score based on connected borders. If you only have 1, you do not score any points. But if you have at least 2 tiles that are connected, you score 2 points. If 3 desert tiles are connected, you score 6 points. If 4 connected tiles, it's 12 points, and 5 or more tiles score you 20 points. Castles have a base value of 2 points, and you gain additional 2 points if they have a vampire on them for a maximum of 4 points. Now these next few tiles have effects that go along with them. For instance, the summoning circle has a base value of 1 point, but allows you to immediately exchange the token that would be placed on it or on an adjacent tile for one currently in the market. The volcanoes have a base value of 4 points, but when placed, destroy all bordering monsters and mini-boss tokens. And finally, we have the Cloud Island, which each have a base value of 7 points. However, for each non-Cloud Island on your board, you will subtract that amount from each Cloud Island. For example, in a classic game, if you have 4 non-Cloud Island terrains on your player board, your Cloud Islands are now only worth 3 points each. And that is how the different terrain scores. Now on to the tokens. The easiest to score are the mini-bosses worth 2 points each. Next, you can score 1 point for each matching monster and terrain combo. Crystals you collect score you 1 point for each terrain on your map with a matching icon. And finally, you score any bands. Bands consist of straight lines of 2 to 4 monsters of the same type. For each band of the same 2 monsters, you will score 2 points. For a band of 3 monsters, 5 points, and a band of 4 monsters will score you 7 points. Now that you know how to play the base game, you can add some variants. The first variant is adding the boss cards. To do this, at the beginning of the game, deal 2 boss cards to each player. They will choose one and discard the other. Leave it face down next to your player board. Once per game, you can use your boss's special ability. Flip the boss face up and use its revealed ability. After that, it will stay face up for the rest of the game. Whether you reveal the ability or not, each boss card also has a scoring objective which will award you more endgame points if completed. The next variant uses the command cards. These cards can be used on not just your board, but on your opponent's boards as well. To use them, shuffle all the command cards and deal 4 cards face up near the market. In order to use these cards, you must complete the pattern on the same turn you can draw the card and activate it on your board or on an opponent's board. Once activated, you will discard the card and draw a new card to replace it in the market. The 3 types of commands are Intimidate, which requires a pair of the same type of terrain to complete. This card allows you to slide a single tile on any player board to an open adjacent spot. The next is Demolish, which requires 3 terrain tiles of the same type in a certain pattern. Once activated, you can destroy a single tile and its token on any player's board. Once destroyed, that player will draft a new pair from the market and place it on the destroyed tile locations. The last command card is Overthrow. This requires 4 terrain tiles of the same type arranged in a pattern. When completed, you will swap 2 tiles. They can be on your board, on another player's board, or even have 2 players trade tiles. And that is how you play Overboss. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified about new videos. If you're bored now, click this for more games.